My name is Brian, and welcome back to Desert Theory. Well, tonight's gonna be a short night. Kelly and I got out here late. We're only gonna work till about midnight tonight. So what we've elected to do is take these king shocks off. So we know they're not quite right. They're old and tired. So what we do know about these shocks is when they were put on here, Brent took this car down with King to Barstow and tested them. And he got this car working great, and he won a lot of races with it. What we don't know is how well they're still working. So these shocks sat for a long time in a car, and what we think happened is all of these little, and we'll show you when we pull it apart, but all these little check valves and seals and everything else in that whole shock aren't working correctly anymore. They're just too old. So, but we'll be able to see some of that when we pull it apart on the bench tonight. So during our race, in the real choppy stuff, where when I watched video of making the race, we could see other cars and their suspension was really moving quickly and the car was very smooth. Our car looked fairly smooth on the outside, but Kelly and I were getting beat up on the inside. So we were actually kind of holding our breath, having a little bit of a hard time seeing because it was such a rough ride in the car. And that's not what a Jimco does with king shocks. So that's why we think we have something the matter. Kelly's getting this bench cleaned up. We are always fighting for clean space.
Flat surfaces.
Yep, that's just the case. It's everywhere. It's at home too. So we're gonna get these shocks pulled off of here, get them on the bench, get the oil drained, start pulling them apart, kind of see what we find. So here we go. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is pull these caps off of here and then bleed the nitrogen off that's in them. So a lot of people we talk to change their shock oil once a season. Obviously this has been the 2 races that we've raced with it, plus 10 years, plus whatever races Brent had on it before. So shock oil is really old. That when those seals are bad, nitrogen can start getting into the shock oil. So there's just all kinds of problems that can come along with these seals being bad. Okay. See how they had the machine this down to get that to fit?
Oh yeah. I don't know if I call it machining.
That's what it was, all right.
I think it was ground. Huh?
We're gonna switch fences. Even though we cleaned this one off, we want to be able to put these upside down after we get them drained out, be able to take the bolts apart here and get this whole lower unit out. So right now, Kelly and I are doing something that's always a little bit awkward, and we are, for the first time ever, trying to blow this king shock apart on camera. So I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have done this every year. There's some people that do it for a living, and all of them are going to be better. The only thing that I could ask is they're kind in the comments.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not like we've never rebuilt the shock, but it's been like a good, what, 10 years?
Yeah.
And I don't think we've never done a king, so
Never.
car had boxes.
Yep.
I've heard these things are not much different.
And it's probably on threads.
Yep. Yep. Or not. It's just an O-ring. got a spring there, huh? Oh, there it is. Does it have pressure in it still? Because it's just like the Foxes. You just push this down and there's a snap ring there. But it's got like...
Hit it.
Hit it. Oh, it does. There we go. There it is.
Just like the Foxes, as we kind of remembered, push that piece down. It exposes this snap ring right here. Then it'll allow that whole thing to come out. And that's why shocks have limit straps, because that's not strong enough to hold anything.
I mean, it's going to hold it, but it's just not going to take a beating, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, this is where you want to be real smooth with this.
Gentle.
Otherwise, you're going to wear a lot of oil. That's why I'm going to back up.
I need like a step stool.
This is the best part of like being the camera guy. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so how do you get rid of that suction? Is there a way to do it? Or does it you just have to keep pulling on it until it finally breaks the seal? Oh, whatever you did there
Helped?
helped. Did you bleed that?
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Okay, so go grab one of those rags.
I'm the
Brian.
camera guy.
Brian, this is serious.
Hold on.
Go. Oh, diaper action. Okay. Boy, it's kind of dirty.
It's like it's been sitting around.
Well, it's been used. It's kind of black.
Okay.
It'd be nice to know how much wear this is on this wear band. You know, if you could run them again. You going out with the old?
Yeah. Look at how not good that looks.
There's a lot of air in it, or nitrogen in it. Boy, that is black. Easy, big boy. Easy there, fella.
Yeah. So
She's pretty dirty. Yeah. Okay. Good.
yeah, so we were expecting exactly that. We were expecting seals to be really bad, wear bands to be. Well, we didn't know what to think about that.
I don't know. I don't know how bad that is. I guess replace it? I don't know.
So we know that McMillan's on this car, and then it went to Brent. And Brent had the shocks, and he raced in more, and some snore.
In that FUD series.
And so all of it's a lot of whooped out areas, a lot of, I mean, he was using these shocks every time he raced, so yeah. It might be worth the...
I mean, I don't think they're that expensive. Just buy them.
Yeah. We're going through.
Cool, B. So then, yeah, we'll check all the shims. We'll get everything cleaned up. Take note of what we have in here as we're going through it. So tonight, Brian, do you want to get these pulled apart and kind of lay everything out? And then we could try to put them back together. That's going to obviously get all cleaned out. Boy, that is a thick body. Like the shock body is a thick wall.
This thing's heavy. Yeah, I mean,
Because then it'll be yeah.
we're gonna take this off.
Take that off. Pull the little dividing piston, I think they call it. You can pull all those apart. But it's almost like you want to do like, you know, the front and get it all put back together.
Yeah, we don't have the flat surface space. We also have his kids come out here.
Little kids.
Those little, I don't trust them. We've had to build a few things.
You can't trust them.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah.
Is it just, why? Why is it so difficult? Just hadn't broke loose. So we found stuff. We don't know what it is.
We're just kind of learning here. Easy. Don't. Okay. Yeah, you got your hand there.
Didn't fall out like we were hoping.
Well, that's the bypass valve.
Mm-hmm.
Boy.
And you already loosened the. Well, it doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters. So we're gonna want to mark these, like.
Is it the same size?
Mm-hmm. I was just kind of curious if they.
No.
Uh-oh. Oh, maybe it's just a different style, huh?
And there's something else down in there.
The needle. So that goes on there like that.
Mm-hmm. And it's loose now. Is that it?
Looks like it.
All right. So you can see that
It is.
sits down in there, and a couple different. Ooh, yeah. And that seal is completely very, very hard. And that spring sits on there, and then this piece sits in there. Some sort of a valve.
That's the bypass valve. So there's like a port here, Brian, right? And there's a port here.
Yep.
And that's just opening and closing and letting oil jump. Maybe it's
To where the shock can fall faster.
changes the valving in that stage. It just opens it up and lets it run in either compression or rebound. That one's stuck in there.
And this wouldn't work.
No, it wouldn't work. I mean, maybe that with just like a wiggle it kind of. Like this. So that one might not even be working. But I'm thinking,
It's totally different though, because there's not
yeah,
like
it's a totally different design. It's the top out. This is like your last stage of compression, right? It's just a bottoming zone, basically, which is why it's screwed most of the way in.
Okay, so somehow we need to mark that one. It's middle compression. That one was. So top compression, middle compression, low compression.
Yeah.
Okay, so not as crazy as I thought. Oil was worse than I thought. Looks like nitrogen in the shock oil was worse than I thought. which would probably mean that these seals could be really bad too, right, Kel?
Yeah, that's probably the one that is bad right there. That's
so when you throw nitrogen into this, you're going to put it in right here, and it's going to push this kind of a puck that will pull out down. And
they call it the dividing piston.
The dividing piston.
Divider piston, whatever. But it basically keeps the oil pressure against the oil, but not put new seals on it. I'm just putting them in baggies because I have little kids, and they'll be out here
destroying our stuff.
Taking our treasures. Destroying our stuff.
It's true. Kids take all your nice stuff and they ruin it. How big is this thing now?
Not that. Oh, it does go that big.
When we pulled that and drained the oil.
Well, the oil had nitrogen in it, which is not good.
A lot. Like, it was very dark. It was very, very bubbly. And that's after it sat here.
Do you want to just pop that? No, it doesn't have any in it because this is wide open. Never mind. So that dividing piston, remember we had that tool that we made to get that dividing piston out?
Yep.
Do you remember where that tool is? It's that quarter 20 that we welded that bolt to like a rod.
Probably in the top of our toolbox, huh?
Yeah. And then you thread it in there and pull that thing out.
Look at how much oil is in the top side. So you can't see it, but I'm going to try and show you anyway.
Not supposed to be oil on that side of the pit dividing.
So we've taken all of our shocks apart quite a few years. Not once have I ever seen where I can put my fingers in here like this and it's just oil. So like we were saying, the one we were guessing from the start was going to be bad. And it's this dividing piston that we'll be pulling out here in just a second. You'll get to see how awful that one is. And you already can. Like,
that one failed.
That's awful. So it failed, but it's some of the explanation of why our shocks were so bad when King set them up and they were so perfect for this car. It's just too long. You can't expect all of these little gaskets and everything to last like that. It's never going to happen. So
I'm going to be making another tool, Brian.
Okay, so what we have right now is the dividing piston, which you can see right down in there, is too far to reach. You know, it's like 9 inches down in there. So we are just gonna weld a bolt, quarter 20 bolt that will thread down into that hole, clear down in there, so we can pull that dividing piston out. Now we'll be doing this to all of our shocks. So all of these are going to get completely resealed, re-oiled, and so there's a lot of this. So
The water.
okay, so this is what we made for tonight. Kelly is going to take this exact thing, take it to the shop, and actually thread this piece, because you're going to notice this isn't perfectly straight when we welded it on, but it's going to work for tonight, what we're doing.
There you go.
Okay, but it worked for tonight, like we said. Pretty cool. That bolt's so old, we don't know if it was bent. Ooh, yeah. So, you know, this is one of the seals.
Is it just flat?
It's not flat. It's just very stiff. It's not rubbery like it's supposed to be. I don't know about this. This looks probably pretty good. It'll come with a new one, but that seal right there is not.
So then there's all the shim stacks, compression and rebound, and then there's a O-ring in here, a seal, a wiper seal back here. So we'll pull all this apart. Okay, Brian. So now we're starting to get,
This is the part where I mess up.
well, they're pretty straightforward, but you just don't want to get them flipped because they always go smallest to biggest.
And that one's specific
Okay,
on which
so
way it
that
goes.
that was like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, take that washer and then you'll get. Okay, so that was like, I'm just gonna put this like this, Brian. So this was up by the nut. So the shock's going through. So this is gonna be your rebound valving because it's trying to pull down. So those are gonna flex up. So this is rebound valving here. And then this is,
And see how all of these are,
you just want to check them for cracks.
yep, they're all individual.
And then clean all this stuff really good. So that's rebound. This is compression. Washer's got a taper on it. So that was down. So crazy. So cool, huh?
It really is. This is,
This is right up your alley.
yep. This is the fun part of working on a race car, right? Like you get to tear into these shocks that seem super intimidating, and there's nothing that crazy.
It really is, man.
So all these look good. So if you've ever wondered what the inside of a shock looked like, now you know. So we get this cleaned up pretty good, but then we're gonna leave all these seals where they are. These things are just so tired.
And these are all Viton seals.
Hold on,
These are
what did
probably
you say?
holding up pretty good.
What did you say?
These are Viton.
No. Viton.
Oh yeah, that's right. So they're probably actually okay, but
But our seal kit will come with
we're
all
gonna
of this
replace
new.
these.
And that one was just stretched out. Like it was underneath here,
Yeah.
underneath this, and still it was just kind of getting a little bit loose. It didn't look quite right. But they're 20 years old. I am so excited to go run this car with all of this rebuilt. It's going to be a really fun day. Yeah, so this is actually the seal that's horrible. Doesn't feel that bad, but it's bad.
They just get flat. Like they don't look flat, but they don't hold,
don't hold the oil, and
like they should.
gonna put this back in here. But it's ready. It's ready for Kelly's kids to lose all of that.
Put it in the baggie.
Oh, put it in a bag.
In fact, I was gonna get a zip tie. Run through that. Kind of think that's probably far enough for tonight, huh? We'll get the seal kit, and we can take the other one apart if we,
If we find something that doesn't go back together, we don't know how, we can take the other one apart.
Yeah.
I concur.
Should probably get a new one of those.
Oh yeah. Wasn't expecting that. Oh, you know why? Well, this is kind of beat up a little bit, and not from racing, but Brent, when he hauled it in this race car in his trailer, he'd put a piece of angle right here, He'd lift the car all the way up and then put the angle in there, and it would.
That would make the front end narrow enough to fit in the trailer.
So it would raise up.
On that one, huh? Not the.
Positively. You can. It's plain as day. So no big deal.
No biggie.
Well, it's stuck up on midnight already. We're both working tomorrow. So I think the King Shock take apart, just one of them is actually all we're going to end up doing today. So, yeah, that's it. We learned a lot pulling that King Shock apart and realized that we can definitely do it. Just another fun night of learning this car a little bit more and going through absolutely everything. So, like I said, shocks, transaxle, axles, that's what we're working on. We're not under a huge rush right now, and it's nice. Kelly and I are coming out here. We're having an absolute blast, and just so lucky that we get to work on this car. So lucky we bought this car, and so lucky that all of you are liking and subscribing and help support our journey on this. So thank all of you. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you.